The memories of the past can be both a comforting embrace and a haunting specter. For me, it was the latter. His name was David, and he had been a part of my life many years ago. Our relationship had been intense, passionate, and ultimately destructive. We parted ways on bitter terms, vowing never to see each other again. Years passed, and life moved on. I built a new existence, free from the suffocating grip of the past. But then, out of the blue, I received a message, an innocent Facebook friend request from a name that made my blood run cold. It was David. Curiosity mingled with trepidation as I stared at his profile picture. His eyes, still as piercing as I remembered, seemed to gaze into my very soul. I hesitated, torn between curiosity and a lingering fear of reopening old wounds. In the end, my curiosity won, and I accepted the request. We exchanged polite pleasantries, catching up on the years that had passed. David seemed different, matured, introspective. He apologized for the pain he had caused in the past, claiming to have changed. Skepticism tugged at the edges of my mind, but a part of me desperately wanted to believe him. As our conversations deepened, old feelings resurfaced, an intoxicating mix of love and anger. David had a way of pulling me back into his orbit, his words expertly tailored to awaken dormant emotions. We arranged to meet, and though my instincts screamed in protest, I found myself agreeing. We met in a dimly lit cafe, the air thick with anticipation and uncertainty. David's presence, once comforting, now sent shivers down my spine. There was a darkness lurking behind his eyes, an enigmatic aura that made me question his true intentions. Over cups of coffee, we delved into the tangled web of our shared past. Memories resurfaced, both pleasant and painful, blurring the lines between then and now. And as the hours slipped away, I found myself caught in a precarious dance of nostalgia and danger. Days turned into weeks, and David's presence became a constant in my life once again. He charmed his way into my heart, rekindling feelings that I thought were long extinguished. But beneath the surface, doubts gnawed at me. Had he truly changed, or was this an elaborate game, a ploy to exact revenge? As the weeks wore on, I noticed subtle changes, a missed call here, a text message that sent a shiver down my spine. Paranoia began to consume me, and the walls of my once safe haven closed in. I started to question every interaction, every word uttered between us. And then, one fateful night, the truth revealed itself, a truth I had been too blind to see. I stumbled across undeniable proof that this was more twisted than I could have imagined. David had never changed. He had orchestrated his return into my life as a cruel game of manipulation. Every conversation, every stolen moment had been part of a twisted plan to break me once again. The realization hit me like a tidal wave, threatening to drown me in despair. I had been a pawn in his sick game, and now I was left to pick up the shattered pieces of my life. Fear clutched at my heart as I realized the depths of his obsession. Terrified for my safety, I cut all ties, blocked his number, and disappeared into the shadows. But the darkness followed, lurking at every turn. I could feel his eyes on me, his presence lingering in the corners of my mind. The days turned into sleepless nights as paranoia consumed me. I questioned the motives of every passerby, saw shadows in every corner. The boundary between reality and delusion blurred as David's presence became an inescapable specter, haunting my every waking moment. I knew I had to confront him, to face the demon that threatened to destroy me. Summoning all my courage, I tracked him down to a secluded location, a place where our past had intersected, a place drenched in memories both beautiful and horrifying. As I stood before him, my voice trembled with a mixture of fear and fury. I demanded answers, an explanation for the torment he had inflicted upon me. But his eyes held no remorse, only a twisted satisfaction at my pain. With a chilling smile, he whispered, "I warned you, my dear. Nightmares have a way of becoming reality." And in that moment, I knew the nightmare was far from over. The battle for my sanity had just begun, and I vowed to reclaim my life from the clutches of this vengeful ghost from my past. Determined to escape the clutches of David's relentless pursuit, I embarked on a desperate journey to leave behind everything I knew. I changed my identity, disappeared into the anonymity of a new city, and surrounded myself with layers of protection. Yet no matter how far I ran or how well I hid, I could never shake the feeling that he was still out there, lurking in the shadows. Paranoia consumed my every thought, and even the simplest of tasks became a nerve-wracking ordeal. Every stranger on the street, every unexpected phone call sent shivers down my spine. I lived in a perpetual state of hyper-awareness, constantly looking over my shoulder, expecting to see David's menacing figure lurking in the darkness. The once vibrant and bustling city I now called home became a labyrinth of fear. My once confident strides turned into hurried steps, my gaze darting from one face to another, searching for any sign of recognition. The lines between reality and illusion blurred, and I began to question my own sanity. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and cast long shadows through the empty streets, I found myself locked in my apartment, cowering in fear. The sound of footsteps echoed in the hallway outside, growing louder with each passing moment. Panic seized my heart, and I knew, without a doubt, that David had found me. With trembling hands, I fumbled for my phone, ready to dial for help. But just as my fingertips brushed against the cold screen, the door burst open, and David stood before me, his eyes gleaming with a sadistic delight. "You thought you could run, my love?" he sneered, his voice dripping with venom. "But there is nowhere you can hide from me." Terror coursed through my veins as I backed away, my mind racing for an escape plan. I scanned the room, searching for a weapon or any means of defense, but my trembling hands found nothing. It was just me, cornered and defenseless. David advanced toward me, his predatory steps deliberate and menacing. Each move he made felt calculated, as if he had meticulously planned this very moment. I could feel his malevolence enveloping me, suffocating me, and my heart pounded in my chest, threatening to burst. But then, a flicker of determination ignited within me. I refused to be a victim to his sadistic games any longer. Summoning every ounce of strength, I mustered a defiant glare and spoke with a trembling voice. "You won't break me again, David," I said, my voice quivering but resolute. "I will not allow you to define my existence. You may haunt my nightmares, but you will never control my reality." Surprise flickered across his face, momentarily disrupting his facade of power. In that brief moment of vulnerability, I seized my opportunity. I lunged toward the open window, desperation propelling me forward. The cold night air whipped against my face as I plummeted into the darkness, my only chance at survival. Pain coursed through my body as I landed, but adrenaline pushed me to my feet. Ignoring the sharp twinges, I stumbled through the unfamiliar streets, guided solely by instinct. I dared not look back, fearing that David would be close behind. As dawn broke, I found refuge in a secluded alley, my body trembling from exhaustion and fear. It was there, amidst the trash and shadows, that I vowed to never let David's haunting presence dictate my life again. I would fight, I would survive, and I would reclaim my freedom.